Naturally, as your teacher of theater, I do theater myself, and I have probably ever since I was about 7 years old. Now, sometimes like you, I'm in the audience. I was in the audience there taking pictures for this particular one, but I've spent most of my time on the stage, and I've been fortunate enough to do musicals, non-musicals, Shakespeare, comedy, improv. It kind of runs the gamut. And as I get older now, I'm much more happy to let others take the stage and direct off stage, which is something I'll be talking about a little bit later on in the semester. But if you want to be involved in theater, well, it's a process. You have to go to auditions, which means you have to prepare a monologue or a scene, and then you have to go through the rehearsal process, and the rehearsal process can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on what you're doing. And you have to rehearse stuff and choreograph it until finally it's absolutely ready for an audience to see it. And you get to see and experience the evolution of a moving art. But, what is theater? Well, I've kind of narrowed it down to at least 5 things that make theater different from any other art form. And so this is me, your wonderful theater professor, Adam Lewis, and this is a lecture that I like to call, wait for it, yep, the 5 ways theater is different from any other art form. Number 1, theater incorporates all other art forms. It's true, if you have any architectural skills whatsoever, well, we've got a job for you. If you like to paint, well, we have a job for you. If you like to sew, we have a job for you. Theater incorporates all the other art forms that you could possibly think of and throws them up on stage. And performance as well is an art form because there are many different ways at getting at a character. Number 2, theater is concentrated. And basically what I mean by this is that the story unfolds in front of you and you really only see the parts you absolutely need to see. And depending on how good the story is or how bad, the story has a plot, that plot has a climax, and it has a resolution, so that you as the audience member are left with a feeling of catharsis by the time you leave the theater. Number 3, theater is passionate. And I look at this in 2 very different ways. The first way is from the actor's point of view. From the actor's point of view, an actor knowingly endangers themselves, either physically or emotionally. I'm sure in class I told you about crying on stage and how it can kind of damage the psyche. But the other way is from the audience point of view with this thing called the willing suspension of disbelief. I'm going to turn it over to me on a warm summer day this past summer where I was in my office. There I am. And here's the definition. Get ready to hit the pause button. Get ready to hit it. Right there. Yeah, write that down. Number 4, theater is suspenseful. And that's right, no 2 performances are ever the same. If you saw opening night of a show and then saw closing night, you would see maybe some subtle differences or maybe some really, really big ones in the performance of the show. And sometimes theaters hire what are called understudies. An understudy is an actor who rehearses and practices the role, but only goes on if an actor hurts themselves or is fired or quits. Finally, number 5, theater is ephemeral. Ephemeral means lasting for a very short time. Most productions here on campus only last for a weekend, so we rehearse for 4 to 6 weeks, and then that's it. We perform them and then they're done. They have a life cycle, just like anything else. Meow.